Okay, so we've all been there, right? Those moments where, health throws us a curveball.
Yeah.
And it leaves us feeling kind of like, what now? So today we're going deep on some advice from health coach Dave. And he has a way of reframing these health challenges, these curveballs,
Yeah.
that I think can really change the game for all of us.
It's really interesting because he doesn't shy away from the hard stuff. He really acknowledges the difficulties,
Yeah.
but then he offers this really, I think, helpful way to navigate them.
Yeah, and with resilience, right?
Exactly.
And one of the things that really struck me was this whole concept of taking a diagnosis, which can be so overwhelming, and turning it into what he calls a launch pad. It's so easy to get stuck in the, oh, woe is me, this is what I can't do.
Right.
But what if,
Yeah.
and I'm really curious to hear your thoughts on this, what if we could look at it as a course correction?
Yeah, I think it's a very powerful shift in perspective to not minimize, of course, the severity of any health challenge, because those can be incredibly difficult, but to look at it and go, okay, how can I use this as a catalyst to make some of these changes that I've been meaning to make?
Yes, exactly.
All at
How
once.
many times have we said, oh, I really need to start eating better, or I've got to get back into exercise, or whatever that is.
Yeah.
And then this happens, and it's like, okay, well, the universe is telling me something.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So how, and this is a question for you, but also a question for our listeners to think about, what is something that maybe this shift in perspective could help you with, or that you've been putting off, that you could reframe in this way?
Totally, yeah. It's about taking that active role.
Yes.
And this ties into, I think, so beautifully what Coach Dave talks about in terms of listening to our bodies.
Yes.
And he uses this really interesting example of pain, right? And how a lot of us experience pain as something to be feared.
Oh, absolutely.
Pushed through, right. But he's like, what if we viewed it as a signal?
Yeah.
As our system trying to communicate something to us?
Oh, 100%.
Right. A message.
This is making me think about, oh gosh, when I was training for that marathon and I had this nagging knee pain.
Oh, yeah.
And I just kept going and going and going. And let's just say, my body was not happy with me.
Right.
Like, it backfired so badly, and I should have listened.
Yeah.
Have you had moments like that where you've just completely ignored what your body was trying to tell you?
Oh, absolutely. I think we all have, where we've pushed ourselves too hard, ignored those subtle cues.
Yes.
And, it's interesting because Coach Dave's approach here, I think, really encourages us to be more attuned to those.
Yes. And to your point about tuning in, I love that he even takes this to the realm of mental health.
Yeah.
And he talks about critical thinking, which I was like, what? This is so fascinating to me.
Right. Like, where's the link?
Yes, but it's all connected.
It's all connected.
And specifically, he talks about the power of questioning those negative assumptions that can just run rampant.
Yeah. And he says, our minds can be these, like, masters of negativity, right? We get so trapped in these thought patterns of, I can't do this. I'll never get better. Woe is me. And he's like, but what if we put those thoughts on trial?
Yeah, I love that.
Right. Like, confront them with evidence. Look at the facts.
It's so empowering because it's not just about, okay, let's slap on a happy face and pretend everything's fine. It's about really getting strategic.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I love that he talks about this, too, about taking action. He's all about setting those SMART goals. And I know we've all heard of SMART goals, but are we really using them?
Right.
Especially in the context of our health.
Yeah, I think that's the key takeaway there.
Yeah.
Is, how do we actually apply this?
Yeah.
So being very specific, measurable, achievable, relevant.
And time-bound.
Yes, exactly. Time-bound. Having that framework, that roadmap.
Yeah, it turns it into an ongoing project that you're managing.
Exactly.
Not something you're just passively waiting to be over.
Yes, love that.
And then, he talks about, and this is a big one, finding purpose amidst adversity, which is a heavy topic.
It is.
But I love how he approaches this, again, with such sensitivity, recognizing the strength that it takes to face serious illness.
Absolutely.
But he asks this question, and it's so good. He says, how can we create a legacy, even in the face of health challenges?
So good.
It's not about again, ignoring the hard stuff.
Yeah.
But it's about how can we find meaning and purpose even within that?
Absolutely. And that's going to look different for everybody.
Of course.
Right? It's a deeply personal journey, but it might be connecting with loved ones, giving back to the community,
Totally.
pursuing a long-held passion.
It's finding those things that light you up, even when it's really hard.
Exactly.
Wow. Okay. We've covered so much. We've talked about reframing our perspective, listening to our bodies, challenging those negative thoughts, the SMART goals, finding purpose.
And the common thread, I think, throughout all of this is that you're not powerless.
Yes.
Right? Like you can, by combining a positive outlook with critical thinking and then taking action,
yes,
you can navigate these challenges.
So listeners, here's your challenge, your takeaway. What is one small step, inspired by any of this, that you can take today?
Yes.
To move toward a healthier, more empowered you.
Love it.
Think about it.